Forever. Dog.
From the spacious Forever Dog Studios in Los Angeles, California, and the satellite Forever Dog Studios in Baltimore, Maryland, this is Groomzillas! And now your hosts, Dan Gill and Eric Tadorian. Wow!
Yeah. Welcome to the story, yeah? It's Groomzillas, yeah?
Whoa, bruv.
What's that? Who's talking like that? Who is it?
Bruv? Where you coming at, bruv?
Know? Who let this British bloke in?
Oi, put on your trainers and get out in them streets.
Ooh, you look fit.
Ooh, you looking real fit. Hello, Eric.
Good evening, Dan.
Sorry, I'm just gonna downshift from those.
Just cut through that. Just cut through
strong personas we opened up with. Welcome to Groomzillas. This is, of course, the only wedding planning podcast by grooms for grooms and everyone in between. That's Eric Tadorian. I'm Dan Gill. Eric, how's Baltimore, Maryland?
Dan, I noticed something different about my ring finger.
Yes.
What is it?
You have a ring?
I got a ring. I got my ring back because I lost my ring.
Oh, yeah. You missed. Now, is this a newer one, or did you find your wedding band?
I did not find it. I don't know where it is. I think it got thrown away. I lost it during the miscarriage weekend, so I don't know what the fuck was going on.
Oh, boy. Well, rest in power, that wedding band. That was pretty cool.
And, yeah, that rest in power, that wedding band. And as soon as I lost it, I was like, oh, fuck. You know, it sucked that because I don't like jewelry. I don't like things that much. You can tell by the way that I take care of my things that I don't care for them.
Yeah.
And I didn't want...
You're not into the material goods. You're a man. You're a spiritual man.
I didn't want to say it.
Yeah.
I didn't want to say it. You said it. I don't even have a Facebook. Whatever. Is
that material? I guess that's sort of...
No, it's not material. No. Material on-stage persona is totally different now. You haven't seen me in a minute. It's really different. It's harsh.
I doubt that, but okay.
No, you know what? Do you like harsh reality, boy? Because that's what you're going to get from me for 45 minutes.
Unfiltered Tadorian. Look out.
Harsh reality.
He tells
Maybe
it
that's
like
going to be
it
the name
is.
of my album.
Harsh reality? Okay.
That's really
You're going to start chain smoking cigarettes and just like spewing venom into the microphone? That kind of harsh reality?
Yeah. Where do you come from? What are you doing here?
Yeah.
What are you doing here? What do you like comedy? Why do you like comedy? What are you doing here? Can I ask you a question? What are you doing here?
That's the first 25 minutes of your album. It's a good bit though.
What are you what are you doing here?
It's a long walk, but once you sew it up at the end, oh man, that's a good bit.
Just chastising an audience for daring to laugh.
Where did you get your new wedding band? Where is this one from?
And this is another thing, like the place that I got is this like I wanted to have it like an old Baltimore City jeweler, and they like, you know, as people do, we got the original rings at their original storages in downtown Baltimore. Been there since like the 50s or whatever the fuck. Mm-hmm. And since then they shuttered that downtown jewelry store and hightailed it deep into the county, Baltimore County, where all the rich white people are.
Okay.
And so we had to fucking schlep it out there. And you know me, I don't like to schlep. And schlepped it out there. And you know,
I got yourself a new band.
A month later,
yeah,
schlepped it out there finally and got a new band. And and to be honest, like I never got used to not having a ring.
Yeah.
Which was really weird because I kind of only had a ring for a very short amount of time, considering that I'd never worn jewelry before in my life.
Right.
And now it really feels like I thought it was going to feel weird having a ring again, and it doesn't. It just feels good to have a ring again.
I agree. I'm to the point.
Tapping it onto things.
Yeah, I love tapping it.
It looks good on me.
Yeah. I mean, mine looks good on me too. Everything looks good on you, Eric, though.
That's not true.
I would say I feel more less. What am I trying to say? I feel less at ease.
Say it, Dan.
With the ring off.
Oh yeah.
Than I do with.
Yeah.
It's just
I didn't have it. I didn't have the ring in Denver, which is probably why Denver was a huge fiasco for Groomzillas, because I didn't have my ring, and I felt really weird.
Yeah.
Because guys hit on me all the time, and I fucking hate it. I can't stand it.
Yeah.
I can just
Yeah.
Now I can just.
I love just
and
flashing
the guy
the ring.
hits on me, I can
just letting all the peeps out there know where you stand. It's like, hey, have
Here
fun.
I am.
Have fun.
Step off.
You can
Step off.
We can have
fellas.
fun talking. We can chat. We can chat it up, guys, girls. Let's be friends. But you know what? This is where this ring is going to come right in between.
Do me a favor. Take your peepers away from my gams and move them over to my fucking finger, because I got a ring on it.
Hey, my eyes are up here where my hand is. I'm holding my ring next to my hand.
I've got my hand over my face. I've got my eyes are where my wedding ring is, on my fucking face. Dog.
Oh man,
mother, bro.
We got a lot of show to get to. Thanks once again for joining us. We got Jon Gabrus coming up later in the show. That's a great chat. Eric.
Wait.
Later,
John, he's great.
Later
I didn't
in the
know
show.
him.
Yeah.
You didn't know him?
No, we didn't know him, but he came in.
We have a great chat.
Came in firing. He's a married man. He has lots of wedding stories to tell and wedding knowledge to share with you, because I know that's why you're coming to Groomzilla's. You're coming to us for that advice that you can't get anywhere else. But right now, I'm just looking at the clock. Eric, do you see?
Wait. Before that, I want to talk about your anniversary. And I'm not going to let you not talk about my anniversary.
My anniversary is coming up. It hasn't happened yet. I don't have any plans. Actually, by the time this drops, it will have happened. But as of this recording, I don't have any plans.
Okay.
That's all I have to say. I do want to plan something. It's the 1 year.
I'm so glad. I just want to say that I'm so glad you guys got married, and I'm so glad that you met Wendy at a party in Iowa.
In Playa del Rey. We didn't.
Playa del Rey.
Yeah.
The Iowa
of the South Bay. Or that's not the South Bay. Almost. It's oh my God.
I'm just really happy for you, and I'm mostly happy that we started this podcast.
Eric, I'm looking at the clock. Right back to you. I mean,
Jesus fucking Christ! All right, let's not have a real moment. Let's move on with the bits. I'm so fucking sorry. I tried to have a real moment.
I'm sorry. Your real moment was I'm happy you got married to Wendy, and I'm happy that you met her. That's your real moment you're sharing with me a year after it happened.
That's why I was warming up. That's how I get myself into it. I get into it and I monologue and I talk and something good was going to come out of it at the end.
Okay.
No, I don't want to.
I think we're even past the time. It's not even the time anymore.
It's 9. It's 9.
Oh, it's 9. Oh, it's time once again. It's time once
here.
again for Nup News. Play the Nup News at 9 music, please. It's the nuptial news at 9. Nup News at 9. The nuptial
Don't
news
milk me
on the 9s. Hey, don't be grumpy during the opening Nup 9s.
No, I've been saying that last couple of Nup 9s. Don't milk me.
Okay.
Kind of going against the whole milk me thing. I was like, what's a newer version of the whole milk me thing?
Yeah, turn it on its ear. Don't milk me. Okay.
Yeah, don't milk me.
All right. But still, we have all that milky advice that we want to share with the people.
Don't milk me.
Okay, maybe we'll do that in another segment. This is the Nup News at 9s. As always, try to listen on the 9s, 9 a.m., 9 p.m., on the 9s, in the minutes. The news this week, Eric, comes to us from Fox News.
Oh, boy.
Ever heard of them? Fox News is reporting that oh, wait, I'm on the wrong one. Hang on. This is from the Today Show. This is from the Today Show.
What's the news? What's the news, Dan?
Barbara Bush is married.
So what?
No, not that Barbara Bush. The younger, the twin sister of the Today Show's own Jenna Bush. Hager.
Who cares?
Is married to you.
So
don't.
What?
Okay, and that was the Nup News at 9. That was the Nup News at 9. Whew, that was good.
Well, that was good.
That was a fun.
Like that.
I like brief.
Fun.
I'm a man of brevity, and when the Nup News.
I actually thought that segment was a little
too long.
It went a little long. It went a smidge, not a smidge, but a smidge. Well, too long.
Those Kennebunkport, Maine bushes. They so rarely get their limelight. They so rarely get
fucking Christ
headlines. And I just wanted to give some of our precious time here at Groomzilla's.
I wonder, did HW even get? Did they walk him down the aisle in a wheelchair, or did they just throw his bones down the aisle? Did that happen? Did they just stick all his bones in a rattle and then throw the rattle down the aisle? Fucking Illuminati CIA starting motherfucker. Fucking hate HW. And everybody loves him now. Everybody posts Trump's like, oh, HW is so fucking good. He started the fucking CIA. He's a fucking demon.
I think history will look back fondly on his one term as president.
I forgot. I've been watching this 90s CNN.
I just watched that too. That's what I was referencing.
He puked. I forgot he puked on the Emperor of Japan.
Idiot. He's a fucking idiot.
He's like, I'm sorry. I guess I got the flu.
I guess I got the flu. Sorry, I passed out and was dead for about 5 minutes.
You just fucking spewed on the Emperor of Japan, bro.
Yeah.
And
passed out in his lap.
And your balls made George W. Bush. Like, how? Jesus fucking Christ. You know what I mean?
Well, his balls also made Jeb.
Oh, yeah. Jeb I like. No, I don't. I hate all of them. I hate all of them. They're the worst.
Let's take the position that we here at Groomzilla's like Jeb.
I kind of like Jeb.
I kind of like Jeb.
And is that a new segment? I kind of no.
And now it's time for I kind of like Jeb.
You know what? I kind of like Jeb.
And this has been I kind of like Jeb. We got to move on.
Ripping off the segment. I like that it's just gonna be 800 segments from now on.
So many needle drops of different theme songs. Yeah. So many.
And now it's the twofer. What does that even mean?
I don't know, but it's time for the twofer. No, this is a real segment. We haven't done this in a few weeks, so I do want to do this. Time once again for I do's, I don'ts. Play the I do's, I don'ts theme song.
I do's, I don'ts. I do, I don't.
No.
Do I?
No.
I do and I don't.
Oh,
no. I don't.
Are you changing? Hold on. We have an established I do, I don't theme song that we both love and always comment on because it's organs.
Whatever. I come from a punk rock background.
Not true.
And
not
it
true.
is true. It is so true.
Phantom Bangs is an experimental prog rock band. Art rock, I'd call it. I don't think it's punk rock.
Art rock. Well, that wasn't my start. I didn't start with Phantom Bangs. I ended there. I started with a bunch of older MySpace music that is very punk.
I do's, I don'ts. First up, we got a twofer. It's time for twofer.
Twofers.
We got a twofer.
Twofer on the horizon.
Stop singing.
One for me and one for you. Twofer on the horizon.
I want someone to be tuning in new this week. They're like, oh, there's a good wedding planning podcast you should check out. It's guys talking weddings. It's really fun. Two for me and two for you.
That's a fourfer.
Oh, God.
You're a fourfer, dude.
Fox News. I do's, I don'ts. Wedding photographer praised after video of her pushing stepmother out of the way at ceremony goes viral. Now let me sum this up for you. Basically, the stepmother was getting in the way on the aisle. She's standing up during the final of the the bride and groom are facing each other. It's a prime moment of the ceremony. Great photo op.
Right.
Stepmother's getting up. She wants to get that prime shot, going right down the aisle.
Right.
And she's getting in front of the paid photographer who's paid to be covering all those shots. And she's going to get the shot. Mm-hmm. You don't need to get the shot, stepmom. Mm-hmm. We got this photographer who's going to do it. Mm-hmm. The stepmom is getting mad at the paid photographer. And then the photographer finally just elbows her out of the way and gets her shot. To which the stepmother gets really mad about.
Yeah.
I do, I don't. From the stepmother's perspective first. And then we'll go from the photographer's perspective.
Oh, man. Well, I mean, there's so many moving parts on this thing.
Okay.
First of all, stepmother, right? Step. You're not my mom.
Are you talking to me?
You're not my mom. That's a new segment. You're not my mom. You're not my mom. Dan. The full name of the segment is "You're Not My Mom."
I think, the key word here is step.
You're not my mom.
Mom.
So stepmom, to me,
it's an overreach.
Yeah, it's overreaching. She's trying to do too much.
Yeah,
she's trying to do too much. She's trying to be too much of a part of the family. And you know what, stepmom, you're not gonna be. And no,
because you're not my mom.
also, like, that's the one person you don't get in the way of is the photographer. Because, like, what are you? Stepmom's going to take the photo, and then, yeah, you got a great shot. Now, how are you going to get it to us?
Yeah.
You're gonna fucking email it to us? No,
First of all,
you're gonna print it out.
Probably didn't get a great shot. Probably has a point and shoot digital camera or like a disposable. No, I'm going on a limb and saying stepmom is not getting the good shot.
What was the name of that lady who was secretly a genius photographer and nobody knew it until she died, and then they found all these photographs?
I don't know.
Oh shit! God damn it! See, I know so much cool shit, but I never know enough to make it cool.
You never know enough.
Like I wish I knew
share
that lady. If I knew that woman, and I shouldn't have shared it.
Yeah.
But there is a woman who was a famous photographer, and I've seen her photographs of her, and I know really good photography. Uh-huh. She's a genius, and she was just a fucking she was a housewife.
Wow.
Not just a housewife.
I mean, if you knew the details to that story, that would have been a fascinating share.
Yeah, I don't even know if it's true, but it could be just. I think it's a screenplay idea. I think that's Amy Adams' vehicle.
Oh, that's right. That's what it was. This is your elevator pitch. Okay. Well, how about I do, I don't from the perspective of the photographer.
This is a hard. I mean,
it's a don't from the stepmom perspective. I think.
I don't know where. Sometimes I don't know if the photographer could have gotten the shot without elbowing stepmom and still decided to elbow stepmom.
Yeah.
Probably that's a hard don't.
Yeah.
But it seems like photographer probably tried to do as much as they could.
Yeah, the article says she had tried.
Reached a boiling point, yeah.
She politely asked several times to move.
Can't do it.
Yeah.
Can't do it, stepmom.
Come on.
Come on, mama.
Come on.
Come on, steppy mommy.
You're not my mom. Eric,
you're not my mom.
Let's round out this twofer. You got another I do, I don't for this week.
This is coming from, where is it? Oh, no. Here we go. Here it is. This is, oh man, you shouldn't have let me do this one because it's pretty serious. And now it's a serious one. And now I'm fucked it up. And I don't know where they are. Anyway, this woman, Kaylee West Young, getting married, and her father passed away 3 years ago. And she has 5 brothers, and her 5 brothers were going to do the father-daughter dance, which is a famous part of the weddings.
Heard of it.
And so she wanted to do a father-daughter dance. She's going to do the father-daughter dance with her 5 brothers. She's got 5 older brothers. And the older brothers decide to come up with this idea. She has a twin. One of them is a twin brother. Twin brother comes up with this idea to go through all their home videos. They have all these home videos and put together and pull snippets of their dad's voice from the home and cut it into the song that they're going to dance to, which was Michael Bolton's Fathers and Daughters. We could play that whole song for you right now. We don't have the rights.
I don't think we have it available. No, it's not on the camera.
Don't even ask Wetheads.
Bolton's shaking his head no. He's not. Yeah, he says he's in studio.
Bolton can't,
but he's not going to sign off on that.
So during this first dance,
she hears the ghost of her father.
Without her knowing,
yeah.
During Michael Bolton's Fathers and Daughters, she hears the ghost voice of her dad.
Okay.
And so now, Danny.
Yes, Eric.
Do you or do you not do this to your sister?
Yeah. Well, first of all, how did she react? She probably loved it, and it was tears of joy, and everyone. She loved it.
There was quote, and I'm quoting here, Dan.
Thank you for saying.
And I don't know if Alec is on, and I want everyone to know that I'm quoting.
Alec is here. He's nodding. Yes, we all.
So I don't want anyone to be like,
"Oh, these are not your words. These are not your words."
So this is not my words. Quote: really not a dry eye in the crowd. Unquote.
Okay. Yeah. Well, that's pretty much. I mean, that's pretty much expected.
You got that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I would say her 5 brothers probably, they probably knew the reaction they were going to get by doing this. Maybe if they had a different relationship with their father, or maybe if this was something that they knew she would be haunted by hearing her dead father's ghostly words disembodied above her on her wedding day.
Well, they're not trying to spook her. They're trying to.
Some people might be spooked. I'm just saying they read the room.
But they read the room, and the room was their sister.
They read
their
the
sister
room.
knew.
Yeah. So
they knew that their sister. Yeah.
I feel like if you can read the room and you got a firm grasp, a good handle on the situation, then yeah, I do support bringing a disembodied dead father into the wedding and haunting the entire reception hall with his spirit.
And I feel like that's a really beautiful way of putting it, Dan. And it's also, their siblings. Like if this was like a cousin or a really good friend who's like my best friend, who's like my sister, but is not my sister. If it was anybody that is not directly a sibling that does this, it's weird as fuck.
Maybe and I don't on that, but yeah,
you have to be in. But it's the fact that it's a sibling. They know what it's like. They've gone through the whole grieving, or they are going through the grieving process together, and so. This is a little bit of everything for everyone, I guess,
nice.
In a way.
Yeah, I'll give a big I do to that. And boy, that's just warms the cockles of my heart just thinking about the
just ghosts.
The ghosts.
Would you would take it a step further. You would wheel out like Undertaker style.
I was going to say, yeah, maybe if your deceased father was someone who wanted to be taxidermied.
Yeah.
Before, because they do that. Sometimes people do that at funerals, I know. They position people in a fun, like, hey, Grandma liked playing cards, so here she is playing
This is a new
pinochle.
trend. This is a new trend.
It is a trend.
And I kind of like it.
Because it's kind of fun. I mean, it is a little, obviously, morbid, but, like, if you could somehow line up that and the wedding where you could wheel Dad down there, and he's, like, has a champagne flute, and he's giving a toast. That's kind of fun, too.
Yeah.
Albeit
got a microphone in his hand.
A little morbid for a wedding day, I guess. But.
It's pretty morbid, but
Yeah. Hey, man, it's real life.
So's life.
Yeah.
Life's pretty fucking morbid, if you ask me, Dan.
I do to that. Let's close up I do's, I don'ts for this week. Play that music again.
I do and I don't. I don't, but I do. Either I do or I don't. I do's and don'ts. Brought to you by Barbasol.
Barbasol. Shave fresh.
Shave already. You look like a fucking idiot.
Get yourself together.
Can you drop a F-bomb in a tagline or no? You do commercials. I don't do commercials.
No.
So I don't know.
No, and you have a strict policy. You're asked, but you have a strict policy. I don't do commercials, right?
Oh, Jesus Christ. I would do commercials so fast.
Oh, okay.
I would do the commercials so fast.
Oh, I thought you had a moral stance against. I've been somehow fielding offers.
No, you're thinking of French cinema. I won't do French cinema.
Oh,
I'll do commercials, but I won't do anything French cinema.
Yeah, right. Not after what happened last time.
No.
Okay.
I don't want to talk about it.
Hey, you know what I do want to talk about? I want to talk about our guest coming up after the break. It's Jon Gabrus.
Oh, you guys, wetheads, gather around. Get comfy.
Put the kids to bed.
Find a pair of socks, your favorite pair of socks.
Lock the doors. Put on your socks.
Leave it. Trust
the
people.
No.
Leave them.
Look, I know you might be saying to yourself, a society of locked doors, it's what's wrong with this culture.
This is the purge, Jon Gabrus.
Coming up after the break.
Stick around. We're going to have a nice talk.
Hey, we're going to have fun. Stick around.
We're going to have a nice talk.
Hey, we didn't do first impressions. Oh, we just ran. Oh,
I know.
We just ran out of time. I guess we'll have to do that.
God damn it.
Oh, well.
I was going to do my film professor. Can I do my film professor
Real
anyway?
quick before the break, play the theme for first impressions.
Hey, nice to meet you. I like your style. Here's a first impression you haven't heard in a while. All right.
Wow. That's a
Thanks.
good song.
So this is my impression. This is you go to maybe you're a student and you're at a very fancy film school.
Okay, so I'm a student.
You're a student. The audience, the proverbial.
Yeah, but I'm kind of the stand-in for the audience.
The proverbial, yeah. You're the proverbial audience,
Well,
and
I'm not perverted, but I'm a stand-in for the audience.
Proverbial.
I don't know what you're saying, but just get to your impression.
So you're the audience, and so you are a student at a film.
I'm a
school.
student at a prestigious film school
at USC, NYU,
NYU's,
the Tisch School of the Arts, or
NYU.
the Columbia.
Maybe you're at Northwestern and you're studying film. You're at a
Florida State, Rutgers, whatever. You're in film class.
You're a Seminole in Florida.
And so this is a film school professor.
Okay.
Hold on. You made me laugh, and I gotta be serious.
I'm the student, and I'm sitting in the classroom.
And I'm the film professor.
You're the film professor.
So here's what it is. Okay, so what's Truffaut trying to say here? How is that? Is that good?
That 500 blows, Eric. Stick around. We got Jon Gabrus after the break. Thanks for listening.
Don't milk me.
Welcome, Jon Gabrus, to Groomzilla's. Thanks for joining us.
Oh, please. Thanks for having me. Finally, a space for men to talk.
Our 50 listeners just like tuned out right there.
Whoops, sorry.
Thanks for joining us. You're a married man, aren't you?
I'm a very pro-marriage, pro-wedding married man.
Oh my God, you have come to the right place. You are.
Well, you're in for a treat.
Well, see, like I barely know either of you. I just like when I got the pitch, the idea for the podcast, I was like, hell yeah, I want to talk to dudes about weddings.
Yeah.
So this was very exciting.
Strangers about my wedding? Sign me up.
Yeah.
I can pencil in some time. Sure.
Yeah, I could get down. I can get downtown at 5 p.m.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you for doing that.
No, are you kidding? I did it.
One of them is on a delay from Skype and he keeps talking over me? Sure. The other one's really handsome? Okay.
And I got to sit next to him like we're sharing a fucking appetizer.
You can't see us. We are.
Oh, believe me, honey.
We got a new
you
setup.
have no idea.
We got a new setup here in the spacious Forever Dog Studios. We're sitting on the same side of the table, waiting for our dinner party to arrive. But it's cozy, and I think it works out with the laptop, right, Eric? Eric has always felt left out.
No, this makes more sense for him to see both of us and for both of us to see him.
I can do something like this, like I'm about to jump in. He won't step on me.
And I can just put my finger up, and both of you guys can see, and then I'll monologue.
Right.
I got one more half of this monologue left. Finger up.
Draw it out. Let's stretch. Can we?
3 more pages.
Yeah, I
It's
see.
a walk and talk.
He's like flipping through a binder. Hold on, my lines are here somewhere.
What can I do? What else can I do before I ask this question? Oh shit, True West. Okay.
We just went on a big True West tangent before you got here. We don't need to get into our Christofferson run.
God damn it! I can't believe I missed that.
Unless you want to. I was going to ask you how long you've been married, though.
I will be. I'm coming up on 7 years of marriage. I was married in October 2011. October, maybe the most popular wedding month.
Hey, you're looking on another October wedding right here.
Yeah. Did you get married out here?
Yeah, last year, October 14th.
Nice. October 15th.
Hey, look at us.
Yeah.
Oh, look at that.
And I actually did. I officiated a wedding on October 14th of this last year.
Yeah, there was like a big comedy person who had a bunch of people left my wedding to go to that wedding. Whose wedding was that?
Oh, I don't know.
Was it the wedding you were officiating?
No, I officied a non-comedy
Not in LA.
wedding.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Oh,
A
interesting.
civilian.
Yeah,
A civilian wedding.
Civilian wedding.
We are warriors, us comedians. We are special forces
Thank you for our service.
Thank you. You're welcome for our service.
So 7 years is kind of how old of a guy are you?
I'm 36.
Okay.
I've been with my wife for a long time, though. We've been dating since college. So we just passed 15 years in a relationship.
Oh, wow.
I fucking love that.
Yeah.
I love
Literally since I was 20. Like I turned 21 and then started officially dating her 3 days after my 21st birthday.
Okay, that's again some similarities to me. My girlfriend, now wife, was 21 when we started dating. I was 24, so we were together for a while. Also,
I love a long courtship that leads up to a marriage because I think it really solidifies. Because we've all been to some, 1 year in. I mean, now that we're in our mid to late, I'm in my late 30s.
Yeah.
A lot of weddings, my friends are all dating in like dog years. Like they're getting like 2 years of dating in the first 6 months of meeting someone.
Right.
Because everyone wants to get married and have kids.
They got to fast track.
They got to we got to power through.
Yeah.
But I like those weddings where it's like, I've known both of these couples, like both people in this couple for a decade.
Right.
And I get to be here. Yeah. And I know that they've known each other for a decade. And this wedding is like a formality at that point.
Yeah.
It's like a non-religious, non-organizational, not like nothing matters. Like it was, we got married more or less so that we could stop saying boyfriend and girlfriend.
Yeah. Yeah.
It starts to feel weird when you're like, the joke we used to say is like, this is my girlfriend's going to come with me, but we've been together for 8 years and we live together and we have a dog. Like you have to like convey that it's actually serious. And it's like,
I love it.
Just saying wife conveys that it's serious.
It really does.
Yeah.
There's some gravitas there.
So it felt cool.
Yeah.
I thought you were going to say we got married just so we can have faith in something, which is kind of how I feel about it. And that's like I feel like perpetuating, like when you don't have a religion, you don't believe in your fucking country or whatever the fuck, you don't have like a higher power or whatever. love can be that higher power, as trite as that fucking sounds.
No, you're 100% right. Because we joked that it was we used to say like now we're a team.
Yeah.
And like we were always like a couple, but now we're a team.
Yeah.
And now
how often do I say that, Dan?
You say it a lot, Eric.
the only person, the only thing that matters more than me is my marriage. You know, like in my own head, like what that means. Yeah, that's 50% me as well. So it is self-centered to say the only thing that matters more
you're still a
is
monster.
something I'm a fundamental part of.
But you got to take care of yourself. You got to self-care. Self-care is a part of caring for someone else too. Right. You don't want them to be fucking caring for thinking about you.
Right. And it's like the only thing that's the only higher power I want to be part of is my marriage. Like, yeah, that's plenty. I mean, or a network TV show.
Yeah,
like I'll take marriage.
Okay,
for
so
that.
you're still open to the network spot.
I'm still open to being on television.
Okay,
I don't know how television feels about that. I don't think it's a reciprocal.
Jury's
kind of
still
thing.
out. Jury's still out. Maybe.
Oh, they hate everyone. They hate television. Television hates you until they don't, and then
and then they use you a lot in everything, and don't give other people a window in. Right.
Yeah.
So yeah, I agree with you. I feel like marriage, when I got married, not that I didn't feel this way before we got married, but as soon as we got married, it felt very official and felt like we were kind of like starting a business together.
Yes. It felt it's weird that it felt more like I was official in other people's eyes. I never no dynamic change between the two of us, but I liked the feeling I got from other people of like, I liked being on my honeymoon and saying like my wife and I want to get wine. You know what I mean? Like it felt cool. Yeah. It felt when you have no real job or like you're renting an apartment and you don't own a car, when the most expensive thing you have is a laptop that's just full of bullshit final draft documents. Yeah. Like having a wife feels adult. It feels you feel like a grown up. It feels like something to care about.
Yeah. It legitimizes you in a certain way, and it made me feel established in one part of my life.
Yes.
Where it was like, that's figured out. Let's move forward.
Right. And and it's weird how important, and you don't realize literally nothing changed the day before our wedding, the day after, except because I already had common law marriage, health insurance. Yeah. But
you lost your virginity.
I lost my virginity. Yes, both virginities.
Right.
You're talking about your virginity?
Yeah, I got my ear virginity.
You did ear? Wow.
Yeah, dude. Well, it's like kind of like a Catholic tradition.
Okay.
Ding ding.
Yeah, so that's how I feel. Oh, that's so funny. I truly felt that way, that I was like, well, hey, and also it sort of validated me in other people's eyes. And I don't mean to go out on a limb talking about you guys like I know you that well, but like I'm a sloppy fucking unemployed dude who's like partying. And then it's like when someone hears I have a wife, they're automatically like, well, he's like somewhat human. You know what I mean? Like he must be capable of caring for something or someone.
Yeah, right.
And it really it helps you be mature enough to be like, well, I mean, I'll go to his house. He has a wife. He's not going to like fucking,
Yeah. Something. He's doing something right.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And it feels good.
To me, it was a little bit like, and I'm going to use a basketball analogy here.
Oh, here we go.
When you're in a fast break and there's nothing between you and the hoop, people tell you to just throw the ball ahead and then run after it, so you can kind of run, so you be faster, you cover more ground that way. And I feel like that's kind of what I was doing when you're talking of like the more like people look at you different than the respectability. I was like, let me take this step in my life and then live up to it. Like, let me just I want to fucking marry this. I want to marry this person. That's 100% sure. I want to spend the rest of my life with them. But then also let me do this thing that's going to make me, I guess, respect myself more.
Right.
Then and people look at it, because I am a ridiculous person. I'm a comedian. I've devoted my life to comedy in, 100% of, and so like, it is weird for anyone to take me seriously. And it's like, it is weird when people take me seriously, but I don't ever doubt that with my wife taking me seriously, because it's like, oh, you have to fucking take me seriously or you're
what are you doing?
Yeah.
But it also, it makes you take yourself seriously more than anything else too, where you're like, well, I have something that matters in my life finally, because everything else is so 100%. Ephemeral or whatever, ethereal, whatever the word is. Yeah. And then you feel like I have this thing that's the one consistency in my life for the last 15 years has been my wife. Right. So it feels like, holy shit. Yeah. Thank God I fucking locked into this. Yeah. This was like something that it's been my buoy in a storm forever. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Is your wife in the show business?
No, I've got
The business of
why
show?
are you laughing at me?
The show
Why are you laughing?
business?
Show business. That's how you say it.
Oh, get out of here.
You touched a non-existent tie when you said that too. You were like, show business. She is she works for Netflix, but in marketing. So yes, in business enough that she understands it, but not enough that we're competing or stressed.
Good, yeah.
AKA she's always got the direct deposit and the health insurance
There
and
it
the
is.
401k
There
locked
it is.
down. Yeah.
Okay.
But she gets to be creative, gets to make money, and understands fully like what other people
Where you're
go
coming
through.
from.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and stuff
yeah.
like that. Which is kind of like oddly. I didn't realize how much of a blessing that was. You know, based on my friends who are married to other artists or people who are married to day walkers. If you will.
Civilians.
Straight up, like, what are you doing? It's Friday at 4:00 in the morning. Like, why are you making coffee right now? Why are you making coffee at 4:00 in the morning?
So, where did you get this idea that you were going to finally propose after so long of dating? And then how did that go down?
Yeah, that was it's kind of weird because that is like the thing when you're like, oh, we'll get married when we have some money or we have the time, and then it's like you're dating for 5 more years without ever having the money or the time.
Right.
And then it was sort of like, I think what happened was we sort of knew we eventually wanted to move to California, well, to Los Angeles specifically, because I had been toying with it. A lot of our friends had moved out here, comedy people, and I was like, we should do that because we've only ever lived in New York. We're both from New York, and we were like, if we're going to live anywhere else, it's got to happen soon. We can't like move when we're 40. I mean, of course we can, but we didn't think of this at the time. We're like, we got to do something soon. The only other really city we can live in work wise is LA, and and let's do it. Let's fucking give it a crack. But then we were like, but we do also want to get married. Do we want to get married in LA or get married in New York once we've moved to LA? And so we were sort of like, okay, how about this? Let's get married sometime soon. And then in the next year or so, and then in the next year or so after that, let's move to LA. And we were both kind of like, yeah, that sounds actually kind of fun. And then like we had like a weird, couple of years, and then I just one night the proposal story is like we got in like a fight at a bar in Brooklyn, like an argument. And on the way home, it was like a spite proposal. To be honest, it was sort of like, oh, you don't think I'm fucking serious about this? Like I've been sitting on the ring for a long time.
Oh,
was that what the fight
Did you
was
have
about?
It on you?
Can I ask that?
No, the fight wasn't even about. The fight was more about like something that happens when you've been in a relationship for a long time is a proxy fight where both of you choose different sides in somebody else's argument.
Oh, good.
Boy.
And then you find yourself like 3 layers deep where I'm like, I actually didn't do this, and I don't feel strongly enough to be defending his point of view.
Right.
So I'd like to pull myself out. You sometimes want to fight, and then you sometimes hate your partner's opinion on something.
Sure.
And I'm like, well, no, you're wrong about that. And then we're arguing about a different couple, different friends.
Yeah.
And then we find ourselves in an actual fight about our beliefs.
Right, because it's reminding you of things you dislike about
And then
each
I was
other.
like, we were kind of drunk, and we were like, that shit just happened at 1 a.m. every once in a while. So we were like, oh, fuck it. We go home, and I just kind of like, I was like, I'm going to fucking propose. Fuck this. Also, it was like, I was doing the thing where I was like, oh, we'll wait till like a nice night out. You know, and then we never did like romantic dates. You don't do that when you're 8 years into a relationship and have no money, living in like a 4th floor walk up. And so we were like, fuck, what are we supposed to do? And I just like came home and I was like, that's it. I got she took the dog's collar off. We did the last walk. She went to go to the bathroom, and I put the dog's collar back on and put the ring on it. And then when she came out of the bathroom, she was in like just her tighty whities. And I say tighty whities because she'll call it her period underwear, her non-flattering, sexy underwear. She comes out in that and like a ratty t-shirt, like because she's going to bed. And I'm like, oh, Arthur, can you take Arthur's leash off? And she's collar off, and she's like, I did already. Because we're like still snippy with each other. I'm like, well, it's back on, and I don't know why. Can you take it off? And so she bends down. She goes, oh my god, and she literally goes. She looks up. She's a lighting freak about like everything has to be dimmed. Everything in my house is on dimmers, or like special bulbs, Edison bulbs. It's like the most fucking Brooklyn gastropub shit ever.
Cool.
But I had the overhead lighting on, and she's like, I could see she's standing there in like this bright apartment at 1 a.m, drunk in her, and I see her being like, "Oh my god, this is my proposal story." And I get down on one knee, and she just looks at me and goes, "This is a fucking disaster."
At that point, you've already come back from the fucking bar. You're like half drunk. You're not drunk anymore.
Yeah.
You're not going to fix the lighting. Fuck the lighting. This is the lighting that this moment deserves.
Right. And it was just like, she was like, "Are you serious right now?" I was like, "Yeah, I just wanted to prove to you that I am committed." Blah blah. All this sort of and then it was beautiful, and it was like crazy and dramatic, but it was really it was really nice. We called our family. Now it's 1:30 in the morning.
At that time?
Yeah, we called everyone. She's like, "Did you ask my dad for permission?" I was like, "No."
Yeah.
No, I don't really care for that. I'll call him up and tell him it happened if you want.
Yeah.
She's like,
Yeah.
but everyone we called was like, "What's wrong?" And I was like, "Oh, we got engaged." And they're like, "It's like a Thursday at 1 in the morning."
Oh, no.
Well, just as we planned it.
Yeah, you guys are maniacs.
That's perfect.
Congratulations.
Yeah,
So
thank you.
where did you have the ring? Was this ring ready to go?
The ring was ready to go because she had briefly mentioned liking this vintage ring from a place in Brooklyn. I can't remember. Hope and Anchor is the name of the diner. It's not that, but it was this place in Red Hook, Brooklyn, that had dope old antiques.
Yeah,
and it was a ring from the 30s, and she really liked it, and it was moderately affordable,
Right.
where I
There
would
we
be
go.
I wouldn't kill me if I bought that. So I a couple weeks after I knew about it, I rode my bike out there and bought it, and I remember riding back on my bike, and I was so scared that I was going to lose it that I put it in a fleece zip pocket and then put a jacket over that. I had layers, and I was too hot.
Yeah.
But I remember being I can't lose this ring.
You're gonna sweat it out.
And then I put that fleece in, and I knew she would never check the pockets of my fleece. But I would still, anytime I got dressed in the morning, go to the fleece and be like, "This is the most expensive thing I own, and it's this fucking big." And
Right.
and I would check it all the time.
Yeah.
So I was sitting on it for a few months.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because I was just I want to.
Oh, wow.
I didn't know when we were gonna propose or when we were planning on getting married, but I knew that she liked that ring so much. I was like, I could sit on this for a year if worse came.
Yeah.
If worse came to worse.
Right.
I just wanted to make sure I had that. And as a matter of fact, I thought it would be even cooler if in a year when I proposed, she's like, "Wait a minute, how long have we had this ring?"
Yeah. Yeah.
And but that was cool, and we sort of knew we wanted to get married in the fall, and we got engaged in the summer, so we were like, "That's perfect. That's 5 quarters to sort out a wedding," which
Right.
I think is for what we ended up doing, which was a big wedding. We needed that much time. Yeah.
So a year and a half engagement? Is that
Yeah,
what that means?
15 months, whatever,
Okay.
something like that. Yeah.
Okay.
Good for you. Good for you for being able to sit on the ring for as long. Because I would have been I have the fucking ring. I mean, I proposed the same day that I got the ring, but that was my plan. But if it had it not been my plan, where I was I'm waiting for the right time, I would have just proposed.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is sort of how come it ended up splurt. It was I had my thumb over a fucking garden hose for too long, and eventually it was just here's your fucking ring, we just couldn't wait any longer.
I'm getting the fleece. I'm going to get the fleece.
What are you wearing that fleece for? It's 2 a.m. Shut the fuck up and reach into the pocket. Get in the pocket of my fleece, you fucking... Oh, Jesus Christ.
No, that is very romantic, though. I think that's what happens in the office.
Yeah.
Doesn't Jim buy his engagement ring after the first date with Pam?
Oh,
and that's
yeah.
Everyone in the office loves that, and they love Jim and Pam.
I love that show, to be fair.
I love that show too. I'm not a big fan of Jim. I'm a Dwight head, but
no way. Now with those glasses,
huge Dwight head. I married a Dwight. I tell my mom to my mom. Whoa. I tell my wife. She reminds me of Dwight sometimes. She's kind of big and funny.
Yeah. That's really funny. I tell my wife she reminds me of Trump sometimes, and she gets so mad.
Yeah. No, is that?
I'm like, you could
Wait,
just
really?
I'm like, you could just say you're wrong instead of just rambling on and on. And I'm like, you sound like.
Oh boy.
And then that's not worth it, to be honest, because when I say that, that's brimstone. I'd rather call her the C word. I think I'd be safer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's way better.
Yeah, honestly, I'd rather be a cunt
I
than
think
Trump.
7 million, every single woman alive. I don't want to speak for women, but I feel like everybody would be like, yes. So you had a big juicy wedding. I want to get into it.
Yeah. And a long engagement. That sounds like because ours, Eric and I didn't really have too long of an engagement. A long engagement sounds like it's leisurely and nice. Oh, you did sort of. You had over
Like a year?
I had 15. No, it was like a year plus.
It was
around 14, 15 months. Yeah.
That's sort of what we needed because my wife is a big time, like she does sort of, well, she doesn't as much anymore, but events were like a big part of her job, and she like really likes to host parties and stuff.
Yeah.
So it was important to her because she needed the time to get everything right.
Yeah.
And I was totally behind that. I knew she was never a Zilla in any way.
Yeah.
Right.
But
because that's her job, is to not be a Zilla. She's the fucking planner.
right, like
the
she's
Zilla
like
is,
just like she'll always tell you. I'm like, she's like, I'm not picky, I'm particular, and I'm like, oh, okay, got it.
That's a little
like
Zilla.
that.
I'm not picky. I know what I like.
that.
Yeah.
No, it's not. Oh, I like that very much.
Yeah, it's pretty
Honest.
Yeah, it's like it's honest and it's very real, which is like what I appreciate about her.
Yeah.
And we're both from New York. So that's the hard part is like we're
The
both
city?
Well, I'm from Long Island and she's from Westchester. We're both from like
Okay.
a half hour outside the city in two different directions. But also we're from families where we're the first people that left town.
Okay.
Oof.
So every single relative is around.
Yeah. Oh.
So we knew we were going to get all yeses for all the people we had to invite. My dad is one of 6. My mom has a sibling. Her dad is one of 4. Her mom is one of 5. Like we had like this situation where we're like, we have to cut off second cousins. We had to do like some of the fucking math.
Yeah.
And like I was at UCB at the time. I mean, I still am, but I was like I had to invite. I'm inviting 5 of my improv team mates because they're really good friends.
Right.
I guess I can't leave 2 guys out, even though I'm like less good friends
Right.
with them. They should be there.
Yeah.
So I'm like we're overstretched inviting like all these coworkers, and we ended up with like our first pass at our list was 280 guests.
Whoa.
Damn.
Whoa.
But then we knocked it down to like 220 and invited, and then we got around 200 yeses. And it was just like we had like 200 people at the wedding, which was fucking insane.
Yeah. That's a good number.
280 would have been insane.
280 would have been like unwieldy. Like we wouldn't have been able to do any of the things we wanted to do. It turned out, and we would like. That's the thing. They don't like every person that comes to a wedding is like an exponential like ripple of how much money they cost you. It's like such a weird thing where it's like, well, what's one more person? Well, it's like $100 for them to eat, $40 for this, $5 for a table. You know, like all of a sudden you're like, fuck, well, so and so is not worth $225.
Yeah.
No, because you have to, because then like it just. Like one person will take you up like a whole fucking bracket, and then that one person is going to lead to another person.
Yeah.
And
Right.
then like
That's the big thing where it's like, oh, if I invite so and so, I
domino
got to
person.
invite these 5 people.
Yeah.
There's
Yeah.
no way I
Yeah.
can get away. Because if I don't invite so and so, those 5 people can look at the wedding and go, well, clearly it's only this level of friend.
Right.
But if they're like, oh
Right.
shit, fucking Eric's there, then fuck
Yeah.
that.
Yep.
That- everyone should have been invited.
The old
Yeah.
domino guest, that's a big problem. Something we've discussed many times here on Groomzilla is that guest list, first of all, the hardest thing that we had to deal with.
Oh, it's
You
the only way to. It's the weirdest thing ever. Like this wedding was the best day of our lives. We worked on it for a year, and we still have like a handful of relatives that no longer speak to us due to that fucking due to us just having a wedding.
Right. Yeah.
And it's
it's
just,
hard.
We had to eliminate like second cousins, and like some of our second cousins we were closer with than our first cousins, but was still sort of like we're not inviting any of them. So we had to keep some sort of rule because
that's what you have to do. Yeah.
and my mom is sort of like a I looked around and your mother-in-law has 8 friends here, and I was only allowed to invite 6. You know, like she'd be the kind of person to like keep an eye on that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Also, the fold is my dad also passed away a few months before my wedding, so there was like a kind of a weird dynamic where we couldn't also be tough with my mom, despite it like being like where she was like, I want to have so and so there, and we're sort of like, well, no, you know, like we're happy we knocked 220 off when Dad died. You know, like,
Yeah.
now that my dad's not going to be there, maybe we could bump a few of these uncles off. Dominoes the other way.
Yeah.
Oh, well, I'm sorry to hear that, first of all, but that also sounds like sort of a good thing to have right on the rebound of something big like that.
And I think it was a good thing for literally everyone in the family, too, because it was hard for me to not have my dad at the wedding, which was something I just always imagined was happening. But at the same time, it was sort of like, well, we have something else. We can't change the date of this.
Yeah.
We can't do anything about this.
Yeah.
And what? The only thing that should change is now my dad can't be there. Right?
Yeah.
So we had to kind of like dive back in, which was like really kind. It was very helpful. It was kind of huge. And then it was was very, I think it was important for a lot of people on my dad's side of the family who I'm not as close with, and especially now once my dad passed away and I moved to California, I'm like way less close with. But I think it was important for them to kind of get together, and it was like they got excited for another excuse to like drink like it was a funeral again.
And it feels so much better. It does make it like, because it's like, oh man, we should get, I wish we were getting together under better circumstances or whatever.
That's what you say at a funeral, right?
Yeah,
we actually are at one. Yeah,
and then when you can hang it, because my wife's uncle passed about a month before her sister got married, and it was like a similar thing where it was like I met all these people for the first time, and my wife got to see as part of family that she never gets to see in the Midwest and stuff, and then it's like, you get to, we'll see you next month, and it's going to be so much fucking better.
And the tone will be completely different.
Yeah, because you're just looking, and I can't imagine what it feels like to feel that kind of grief on a firsthand level. But like I've been really close to it, and you want to just fucking, you get to a point, I feel like, in grief where you are looking for anything to fucking pull you up one rung up.
Right.
Just you don't need to fucking get out of the well. You just need to fucking sit up.
You just need to be able to look back and be like, I'm doing better than yesterday.
Yes.
Thank God.
I've taken a step back.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I'm one step closer to out of this well. Who cares if it's still another year?
Yeah.
I just need to be
a big juicy fucking wedding where you can really just fucking lean into it. Ugh.
Yeah.
And me and my wife are sort of like the most outgoing in both of our families. In families full of alcoholic party animal people, we're the most outgoing and like the only ones that move to the city. The rest of our like they're all suburb so it's we're the right people to do it too, because we're gonna throw you a little bougie hipstery white woman wedding with mason jars and fucking circus lighting and tents and a very strict musical playlist. Like we're gonna bring the heat. And
you want a big city show? Here's a big city show.
Yeah, we got married. We got married at a farm in Queens, the only working farm in the 5 boroughs.
Okay.
And it was a fucking blast. We served booze before our wedding. Like as people were sitting.
As you arrived?
And to have at the ceremony in your hands.
Yeah.
Smart.
And I had never seen that before, except for one time me and my wife went to another friend's wedding in like Red Hook, Westchester, New York. And we went to this wedding, and you ever go to a wedding where it's your wife's coworker or your friend, and the only people you know at the wedding are your date and the married couple.
Married.
Yeah. And it's like, that's the maybe best way to go to a wedding. I think it's either someone who's super close to you and you know every single person in their family, or that's the other best way, because then you're just at a bar for a night. And you made the only, and like the groom and the wife, the groom and the bride are going to talk to you for maybe 4 minutes, and the rest of the time it's just you and your date, sort of at like, hey, I guess we're staying at a hotel in Pennsylvania for the night. I don't know any of these motherfuckers. But we went to that wedding and we got kind of wound up about it. We were like, this is gonna be fun. We know them. They have cool friends. We don't know anyone. And we got there and they were serving booze before the wedding, and we were like, this is so genius. So when we invited them to our wedding, we were like, Elise, we fucking love that you guys serve booze before the ceremony. We're doing the same thing. She's like, we only did that because our rabbi, we called her and said, you're running a little late. Where are you? And she had got the days wrong, and the rabbi was like in the bath when they called. So they had to like because I was like, I love that you had people hanging around drinking before. She's like, it was literally, we had to open the bars to keep people sane while we waited for the rabbi. Yeah, exactly. And I was like, well, I learned something exciting from that's what I wanted to do. So everyone was fucking blasted at our wedding.
The old rabbi in a bath.
It was so cool that everybody was watching Jumanji before your wedding. It was really cool.
I think we're going to do that too, but we have the reboot now, so it's perfect.
Yeah, that is good, because the one thing, especially for people who are like distantly connected, like you were saying, where maybe they only know the married couple.
Oh God.
The anticipation for that first drink, especially during the ceremony, is just like really high pressure situation. So if you just appease them right from the get go, then you're just like, look, you're drinking already, okay? Let us have our ceremony, you monster.
I've never been. When I was a kid, my family and I went to this wedding of these people that we barely, like our neighbors, and we didn't know anybody else, and it was weird. But I've never, as an adult in a couple, been in that situation. I really want it now because you can like make up like personas.
Yep, you're sitting at a table with fucking 8 randos. Usually the other freaks. It's usually all the other freaks, like the people who don't know anyone else there either.
Yeah,
and it's kind of really fun. I just had a wedding. I sat at a table of 6. I knew no one else at the table, and they didn't know. And it was just like a delight to like hang out like that.
Yeah. They always have weird, interesting, like, occupations.
It's so funny to us what an interesting occupation is.
True.
Someone's like, I teach English. You're
true.
like, whoa. Crazy. So that's like Monday through Friday every day? And they're like, yes. Like the way people talk, people must be so excited to talk to me because I'm just like, wait a minute. So at the architecture firm, you guys draw buildings?
Yeah,
and they're
right.
like, yeah, man. What do you like? I always
you talk to the kids.
I call it Lego Man jobs because I don't know anyone who has these Lego Man jobs.
Yeah.
But like, my brother's a teacher, my other brother's a nurse, my brother-in-law is a cop, my other brother-in-law works on the railroad. Yeah. And those are like the Lego Man jobs. And I'm like, I don't know anyone. I don't have a close friend that does a normal thing. All my friends are like, I'm the voice of a toy. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I'm waiting to hear back from this Amazon thing. I don't fucking know, dude.
I do 3 podcasts. I make about $400 each a month on them. It's enough to fucking pretend I have an accountant.
All those other real jobs are like the worthwhile jobs too.
Oh, it's always what it is. It's like, they're like, oh, I'm so jealous of you. What do you? And I'm like, oh yeah, I've been like crying, hoping to get asked to do Drunk History again.
Yeah, right. Me, totally self-involved, 24 hours a day.
Yeah.
Oh my god, I want to do Drunk History so bad. It's so sad that is like legit like my number one goal in show business is to do that one fucking show.
Yeah.
Yeah. Armenian genocide. Is that what you want to do?
I want to do the Armenian genocide, and I think it would be great. I think I could really make it funny. I know it's not funny, but to me, having...
I guess I just don't know how you do an episode of television about something that didn't happen.
That's a valid argument.
All right.
Oh, shit. He's crying.
All right. Let me break it down for you. 1915. The World War I had just begun.
He's reading his vows.
Right, and then there's Taron Killam plays Archduke Ferdinand. And then it cuts to me, Derek Waters, doing just fucking. I'm just like fucking doing shots out of his fucking mouth.
You haven't thought about this at all.
You briefly touched on the theme of this farm and the Queen's Farm wedding or maybe it was the circus like lighting you mentioned. It was like a hipstered out Brooklyn wedding. Like,
yeah, it was, and my wife will be mad at me if I don't front porch it with this. It was 2011.
I was going to say, yeah.
And we were sort of an early wave.
That's the height of it.
We were the first people for mason jar, sweet tea, vodka beverages.
Yeah.
We were circus lighting. We carried wheat, like the bridesmaids carried wheat as their flowers. We had,
I love that.
We had vintage. My wife bought like all of the centerpieces. She bought vintage sewing machine drawers. Oh wow! And then had the florist plant the flowers in there. Like she did a lot. Like we had.
That's a really good idea. That's cute as fuck.
Everything was cute as fuck. Like I would go if I didn't love it so much. I think I would throw the word twee around. Burlap table runners, candles, pumpkins,
twine.
A lot of twine.
What about the harvest theme? That must have played. Sounds like it played a little bit of part.
One of the main things was because it was October in New York. We had like. There's a hay like we're literally the dance floor like butted up against like those wood 2-pole fences but with cows behind it. Oh yeah. We got like a photo taken, and I'll send it to you guys. But I got like our photo was taken in a pumpkin patch with like pumpkins all around us, which is like
in Queens.
Yeah, it's a farm in Queens. The only 5, and I only knew about it because it used to be a field trip destination for Long Island kids. Like,
oh, cool!
You would go in because it had a corn maze and it had pumpkins. You could see
you'd
animals.
been there before.
I had been there as like a child. It's like a 4th
that's
grade.
So cute.
Field.
That's a sweet connection.
Yeah, and it was really cool. And then like our best, and we were the first one out of our friends. Well, one of the first ones out of our friends to have a non-religious wedding. And I think that happens a lot when the people get married in their late 20s.
Right.
It's also
like the later you wait in life, and it's more and more now too because
you were ahead of the game on that too.
That's kind of a
really
trend.
common.
That was a trend. That's a trend that's kind of blown up too. And then back then it wasn't. And back then it was like fucking 7 years ago, but still seems like a fucking lifetime.
Well, I think a big thing that we learned was the worst part of a wedding is transition from ceremony to reception.
Yeah.
And then when you go to a small or a non-religious wedding that doesn't have, like, coming from Long Island and living, the first like 8 weddings I went to were all my college roommates who all ended up getting married at like 23 or 24.
Yeah, exactly.
And they're all Italian guys from Staten Island or Long Island. So they're all getting married in these huge halls in New Jersey or Long Island, and then having their ceremony at a church that's 30 minutes away and 4 hours in between where you
Right.
go back to the hotel, but you got to stay in your suit.
Yeah.
All this bullshit that I just hated about. It's just like, because my wife, what she said is, the only thing that matters for our wedding is that it's a fun party.
Yeah.
So I have all these things that I want to have at the wedding, and I want all these things that I want to look like, all these photos I want all this stuff. But most important, it has to be a party for everyone else, because we had just been to enough weddings, and that's another cool thing about getting married later in life is you have like life experience, but you also have wedding experience where you're like, we're not fucking doing that, because we know the big, and this is our thing when we go to weddings. So anyone who's a friend of mine listening, you have been judged silently. The transition from ceremony to reception, that first rush of drinks is where I think a wedding is made. This is so dramatic.
Yeah. No,
that's where you make or break.
This
is where you make or break a wedding, is that first transition, because it's. I've been a few of these weddings in these LA venues that are like very similar, that are like cool indoor, outdoor spaces with like industrial and plants or whatever.
Right.
And like the ceremony ends, and then everybody just walks, and whoever was at the back of the ceremony gets to be at the front of the line. Whoever's at the front of the ceremony gets to be at the back of the line.
Yeah.
And you're just in line 2 by 2, every single person that was just at the reception, because everybody gets a drink at the wedding after a ceremony. You know, once that cycle's broken, everyone's on a different pace, and you can kind of slow the line.
Sure.
But I think you need to like attack you need to attack your guests right when the ceremony ends. People need to be swarming
Stuff their
in.
fucking mouth.
Yeah. Or you need to be like, hey, the bar line's over here, but over here is a fucking cooler full of bottles of beer.
Yeah.
If you're a beer drinker, or you just don't want to wait in the line, come over here, and that's like, we did all that shit.
That's exactly what we did.
Dan did that too. It was really smart.
Yeah, like, or like have one woman have people pass through with some wine or something like that. Be like, take these, lighten the load on the line. So if you're waiting for your vodka soda, you don't have to like wait forever.
Yeah, it is just about getting people their booze like as soon as possible.
Crucial. It is the most crucial time.
Even like for just a half hour, have 2 bars set up, one on the other end, where it's like, we got beer and wine down here and full whatever else down here.
Yeah.
And you got to feed people though. You also, because like,
I think the drink is primary though to that.
The drink is primary, but
the first drink, it's all that matters is get that first one in your hand, because then you can feel like I can start talking to people. Because before that, you don't even, the ceremony ends, you're like, that was beautiful, and you're like, get in line, get in line, get in line. And then you're just in line behind a stranger for an hour. Yeah. And it's like, fuck that. That can't be the first hour of a party.
Right.
And you're making small talk sober, which is, I mean, no offense to sober people, but that's the worst.
Well, if you are a person who can drink, sober small talk sucks in comparison to drunk small talk.
Thank you for saying that. Thank you for saying that way better than I did.
Well, I didn't think there was anything wrong, but then when you said it, I was like, I could back him up. I could help this out.
But I think once that first drink is imbibed, because it is a crucial. Once that first drink, 1 or 2 drinks, if you're not a fucking animal like I am or Dan is, I don't know about you, but you seem like an animal, John. Then you're starting to think about food almost immediately. The clock starts on food as soon as that first drink is down. And when you have, like, Dan and Wendy had this incredible just fucking salami cheese table set up.
Ooh,
and that'll do the trick.
Yeah.
Love a charcutes. Yeah.
That's enough for me. And Armenians just put the food on the table.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's like a perfect, that's the great, like, we did past hors d'oeuvres, and like, hors d'oeuvres are the highlight. Cocktail hour is the best part. That was another thing we did, because we had been to so many weddings where cocktail hour comes, and especially if you only know the bride and groom, and they're off getting their photos taken for like a full hour, and you're like, oh man, and the whole bridal and groomsmen parties there. So it's like because here's the thing you need to know about me. I've been invited to a shit ton of weddings between me and my wife. I've been in a shit ton of bachelor parties, but only a couple. I've only been a groomsman a couple of times. I'm the guy you want for a weekend at a house, but I'm not the guy you want in a tux in photos. That's been like my life story. It's like I'm at a bachelor party. I know every groomsman from the bachelor party, but I'm not up there. I'm not giving speeches. I'm not. I mean, I will eventually give a speech unrequited, unrequested.
It's an important distinction to make.
Yeah,
I think that's fascinating. And I mean, people that have gotten married, grooms that have gotten married, that you were like, I like on paper should be a groomsman at this fucking wedding.
Yeah, or if they had two more groomsmen or one more groomsman, it would be me. Or like it's sort of like, sorry, I have to have my wife's brother or my cousin. And, and I never care because that's just you're just asking me to spend less money and less commitment on your.
I was going to say, is that something you like? It sounds like you enjoy your place as the bachelor party guy and not the groomsman.
Yeah,
guy.
and my wife, we just went to a wedding where my wife, it was her good friend got married. I didn't know any of the people really, but she went to the bachelorette, and we were talking on the ride over that going to the bachelor party or the bachelor is like a great lead up to a wedding because then you're like, I kind of know 6 dudes, and I kind of like them, and that's Eric. Him and I we got along really well that weekend. Oh, it's gonna be fun to run into him here, and it's like, hey, who's your partner? This is my partner. Hey, let's go. And it's like, oh, you're gonna actually like this guy because and it's kind of you have like you have a better viewpoint of what's happening, and it's kind of a fun way to show up to a wedding.
I love the inside jokes you have with the guys you have only met twice.
Yeah.
Like, this guy, cheese doodles, right? Right, Travis? This guy loves cheese doodles.
One weekend.
This guy went to Baylor. He went to fucking Baylor, dude. I think that's one of the positives of destination weddings too, because it's like an elongated version of that where
it's like smushing both things together.
Summer camp vibe, and everyone's just kind of like hanging out leading up to the wedding. So the wedding is this big fucking crescendo of pleasure and ecstasy and
all
kinds of.
Where are you going? What destination is this?
Sandals?
Just like a fucking endless like orgy type thing, but it's not an orgy, but it's and the music is pulsing.
Are you
Coachella?
Oh, okay.
Beyonce comes out. Hey, what are you talking about?
It sounds like you guys did a lot of things right with your wedding. Mm-hmm. Was there something you did wrong that you want to get back, and something you would advise people, like a pitfall to avoid?
The major drawback of our wedding, the only thing that went really wrong was we had an after party planned back in Brooklyn at like a local spot we used to hang out at, and there was we had school buses transporting everyone.
Classic.
So one school bus was going to go to the bar. One school bus was going to go back to the hotel that people were staying at. We stayed in our apartment that night, which I thought was really fun. But we got on the 2 buses and the BQE going from Queens to Brooklyn. Traffic was so insane. It was a 90-minute drive. It's like a 20-minute drive. Normally, it was like a 90-minute drive home at the end of the wedding. Yeah. And then the real fuck up was we had bought all the booze for the wedding. Like we hired bartenders, but I had picked out. I made the order. Yeah. And so we left with whatever we had left over, but we put it all on one of the 2 buses. And we were like, we'll just unpack this at my house when we get home. But then once you get stuck in 90 minutes of traffic, we're like, let's bust open. We have fucking 4 handles of Tanqueray. Let's get into it. Yeah. So we fucking open the other bus, our bus, I got smashed. I was trying to play it cool the whole night because I didn't want to like fall down at my wedding. Yeah. But because like the rule was I wasn't allowed to get high until Sunday morning. I couldn't get high Saturday for the wedding, and I had to be like around because I'm a party animal. So my wife is too. We both like made the pact like we just can't leave the other one hanging on wedding day. Right. And
that's it.
Yeah, it's such a simple plan. But then we're fucking trapped on the bus for 90 minutes. I have a handle of Doers because like no one drank that, but I got it for the wedding because I was like, we'll get cheap scotch.
The one fucking uncle, the one second uncle didn't show up. He
says, "Where's the Doers, Johnny? You didn't get any fucking Doers." Like I got.
What is this, Johnny Black? What am I, the fucking mayor of New York City? I'm gonna drink.
Yeah, that's literally you're describing like half of my family. So we had all this, and we just got fucking smashed, and we were getting so drunk that we started to have to go to the bathroom, and the bus driver's like, I can't pull over, we're in traffic. And we were like, just get in the rightmost lane. And we would get all the way the bus in the rightmost lane. He opened up that door, the front door, the front side door, and we would just take turns standing on the stairs, pissing off the bus onto the fucking BQE.
Wow.
And like 15 of us did it on this bus,
Yeah.
and it was my wedding night. I'm in
Yeah.
a fucking tux or suit, urinating off of a bus. It was very. But then when we got home, I was like blacked out and like didn't
Yeah.
last long at the after party or anything. And
Right.
also it took the wind out of everyone's sails. That by the time they got
Yeah.
back, half of them had sobered up, or half of them were hungover,
Yeah.
or just like falling
Right.
asleep.
Yeah, that is a sobering time period to be in traffic.
Wait,
And then-
what was the sober bus like?
That's the thing. I thank God I wasn't on. They were all like that they all complained about the bus ride home, and no one on our bus complained about it. They were just
no,
like,
yeah.
"This is fucking
They
wild."
didn't know
You had what you needed.
Yeah, we weren't even thinking about like this is nuts that it's 90 minutes. It's like this is
Yeah.
crazy that we're all drinking
it.
white wine out of the bottle on a bus. Like we
Yeah.
had like a case of Sauvignon Blanc, so we're just
man.
like everyone was drinking them like they were huge beers.
Oh, God.
And we were fucking.
You had drunk people problems like,
Yeah.
where am I going to pee? And
Yeah, right.
Who can I bum a cigarette off
Exactly.
Right.
We can't even smoke a cigarette because we're on a fucking school bus.
Oh man, I would have been on that sober bus. I know my luck. I would have been on that sober bus and hating it.
Yeah, and our friends that were on it were truly pissed off because
like
no one knew it was going to be traffic.
Right.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
I wish I would have, in hindsight, at least made like coolers for each bus.
Sure,
Like thinking
yeah.
about like have some water and throw some chips in there or something
Yeah.
like because we're like hosty type people and we didn't think
Yeah.
that like one layer further.
Get a 5-gallon bucket to sit in the
say
back.
something? Can I say something though? In your defense, at that point of the wedding, that shouldn't be on you to think of that.
No. I meant I wish we would have thought of that earlier on. But
Somebody
yeah.
no, but in that moment, somebody else should have fucking thought about getting
Yeah.
equal amounts of beer and Tanqueray on each bus.
Yes. I remember being so concerned with this is so dumb, but when we were leaving, I had found somebody's keys. And I was just like, whose keys are these? Whose keys are these?
Other bus driver.
Yeah, and all I'm thinking about is like if I lost my keys, how fucked I'd be.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's like my wedding night, and I'm so concerned with
Yeah.
someone else's keys.
It's your number one problem.
I eventually kept them. I sent an email to like everyone I knew that was invited. I asked everyone the next day.
Yeah.
No one claimed to have lost keys. So
yeah.
I took somebody's keys that wasn't at my wedding
Caterer's
and
keys or
stressed
something.
about them the whole night. Yeah.
Oh my
exactly.
God.
I mean, you've just had so much attention rained down upon you from every orifice of your family that you're like, can I just think about anybody else right now for
Right.
any fucking reason? Can I just not think about myself? I spent like a big chunk of not a big chunk, like a good 25 minutes looking for my friend who was at our wedding who isn't a drinker, and we had a big drinky. I had a small wedding, but it was very sloppy. Like a lot of people drank a lot. And so I was just looking for her to like get her a Coke. I was like, I hope she's got enough to drink. And we got Cokes just for her. And she likes Coke. And I find her and I'm like, hey, do you want to come? She's like, I just had some coffee. I'm fine. And I just spent 25 minutes of my wedding to get you a Coke.
Trying to be a good host boy,
Yeah.
and then it didn't
But
work.
I'm just being myself. I was just like looking out for myself to like,
Yeah.
let me just focus on this fucking mundane thing.
so true.
Yeah.
So true.
How are you guys? It sounds like you guys are fun at a wedding. How are you guys at attending other weddings these days?
Oh, we're great at it.
Yeah, but-
My wife's a mage dancer, and
Okay.
she is, and also in her late 30s, but she will be sore for 2 days after a wedding on like, and she doesn't care. Like she'll sacrifice her body where she's like
You have to.
Yeah.
waddling on a Sunday because she was dropping her ass to the floor with like the bride over and over and over. She really likes to get drunk and dance fucking hard. I don't hate it. So I give her like my maximum amount of time of dancing. I get bored by it.
Yeah.
But that's
Yeah.
when I can drift off and go smoke J's or get more
Right.
drinks.
Yeah.
We're both very fun to have at a wedding. We're both party animals, and we know how to wear a suit, and we know how to be good guests because it means so much. It means so much to us to host stuff
Yeah.
that we
Yeah.
know how to like help maximize the host.
Yeah.
I've been at 2 different weddings where my wife would say something like, "The lighting in here is insane," and I'd be like, "Yeah, I know it's pretty bright." And she's like she's friends with the bride or the
Yeah.
groom, and she's like, they don't want it. I know they don't want it like this.
Let's
And
do
I see
something
her.
about it.
I see her talking to like the site manager.
Wow.
And I'm like rolling my eyes, like, "Oh, Tiff, what are you doing, hon? This is
That's
so
great."
And then all of a sudden,
I love
the
that.
lights dim, and it is actually better. And I'm
Yeah.
like, "Fucking A, you're right as always."
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's fucking, it's insane.
I don't know what it is, but my wife's like that too with lighting, and I am always like, "Hey, it doesn't fucking matter," and then I'm like, "Oh wait, that's way better."
She changed the lighting one time when I was playing video games in my office, and I was like, "Oh, I hate this." And now, like, I was like, just being reactive to her doing it.
Yeah.
Now I can't play video games unless I shut off the overhead light and turn on the little lamps.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh fuck. The switch is easier.
You can see the screen a little better.
But, wow, and my eyes don't burn from two different directions.
Right, yeah.
I always say about our wedding, and in general to a lot, especially to my male friends who are getting married, I'm always like, the wedding was the best day of my life, hands down.
Yeah.
But the morning after is a close second.
Yeah.
Oh,
like
really?
it's like the first day of being married, waking up and we're married and we don't have a wedding to think about.
Yeah.
It's like it's a very weird thing, and I know some people go through like postpartum about that.
Yeah.
Like, some people are like, I need to occupy my time.
Yeah.
For the two of us, it was like, this is wild.
Yeah.
Now we're like, it felt like we graduated college, right? It truly felt like, hey, we're grown-ups.
Yeah.
And we don't have this, we were both working.
Yeah.
And now we don't have a wedding. So now it's like, we got 2 hours free a day in our mind. And it's like, we spent our morning, we had everyone coming over, anyone who was still in the neighborhood and like our local friends, all coming over at noon for bagels and Bloody Marys.
Yeah.
That's my favorite part of anyone.
Oh, me too. Where everyone's like, holy shit, Eric, last night on the dude,
Yeah.
I can't believe I puked this morning. I'm 50.
Yeah.
I know. But everyone's like trying to get high and already has a drink in their hand.
Yeah, and
it's like,
like, let's get 5 more hours out of this weekend. Like,
Yeah.
it's just And so, but we woke up at like 10:30 and we were in bed and we were just like drinking coconut water that we had bought for, like, in preparation for this. We're just like drinking coconut water in bed, opening our cards, and like one pile of checks, one pile of cash. And it's like, we're going on our honeymoon the next day. Like, that whole day was just it really felt like we graduated college. Or graduated something, because we were moving on to a whole new world. We had randomly had a couple of grand in front of us. We were going to Mexico the next day.
Yeah.
We had no wedding to think about. We were married, and all of our friends were coming over in 1 hour.
Yeah.
It was like
Just
such a highlight day.
God,
Like
that is such
Christmas
a high.
morning and your birthday and everything all rolled into one. The having no wedding thing is huge.
Huge.
Because like you said, it frees up like this couple 2 hours a day that you were not being productive with before, apparently, when you were planning this wedding. But then you're like, oh my God, I planned this whole wedding. And then there is a postpartum where I like started going to the gym after. Like, I started picking up all these weird like activities just to fill my time, because there was no longer like an hour or two of stress.
Is that why you started doing that?
Yeah,
it is. Huh?
I got totally jacked, dude.
But I remember you like when you were like, I'm starting to get up earlier and I'm like working out in the morning and all that shit. I was like, oh wow, I didn't even put the two together. That makes sense.
I just felt in my brain, and I was like, all right, well, that's done, and now I got to be productive in the way that I was. Not that I was very helpful planning the wedding.
Yeah,
but
the postpartum hit me like pretty fucking hard, because we did the thing where, like, you guys said that you had the wedding and then moved. We moved and then came back for the wedding and had the wedding. We had the wedding in LA or Palm Springs, having already just moved to the East Coast, and then came back for it. And then so when we went back to the East Coast, it was like that first like couple of days was like a haze. But then after that, I was like, oh man, that was just a lot to deal with.
Yeah. Well, you had like a destination wedding, more or less, too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's hard, because that's even more postpartum, because then the Palm Springs of it all is over.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, we still like we left Queens to go to Brooklyn, so it's like we're not. It's not like we're. But like, I could imagine being back. Is it Maryland? You'd like back in Baltimore, being like, fuck, a couple more days in Palm Springs wouldn't be bad right now.
And it was 19. It was 19 degrees when we came back. It was in December. And I was like, let me just look up, because I fucking hate myself, what it is in Palm Springs right now. It's 88 in Palm Springs, and it was 19 in Baltimore. And I was like, but I mean, the reason why I came out the East Coast is because I want the salty weather and all that shit. But it was like, so it was great. But it was like, oh man, like literally 14 hours ago, it was
you were in a pool.
Was so sunny in Palm Springs. I was literally in a pool.
Yeah.
I feel. Did you guys get any great advice when you were planning your wedding, or not even marriage advice necessarily, but even just wedding advice?
Well, we've had tons of advice through this podcast on
I'm
guests
sure
and stuff.
you've heard some nuggets.
But I was just going to ask you that same question.
Oh, dope.
To like close it out.
I have a friend of mine, host of the Guys in Blazers podcast, Michael Davies.
No shit, my friend loves that guy.
I used to work for him. He used to run a production company, and I used to do a lot of work there. And we were sort of buds. And he knew we were planning a wedding, and he ran into my wife one day in the elevator at her job because he was there pitching or whatever. And she was planning the wedding. He knew that because he was a little informed, and she was talking about he's like, so what? She's like, well, the food's all settled, blah, 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 this, that, the other thing. And he looked at her and I'm not going to do a British accent, but he said and he's like a very dapper, put together guy. And he just looked at her and said, at some point you stop becoming a planner and you start becoming a participant.
Yes.
You choose when, but the day of your wedding, you are no longer a planner. And it was a very interesting, sort of gave my wife permission to get to the wedding and then stop being concerned about stuff. And it really helped her. It helped her unlock that of right, I am actually I'm not only throwing this wedding, I'm at it too.
Yeah.
And she's the type of person that she's the type of person that when we're hosting people over, I have to go in the kitchen and go, hey, people want to hang out with you. She's like, but I'm almost done with this other thing. I'm like, well, you have to figure out a way to come out and hang out. I know you want to, you have this idea of how perfect everything needs to be, but people want your people want FaceTime with Mrs. Gabrus.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, you're the star of the star of the show. That's great advice because that's something I feel like I didn't really. I didn't become the participant until too late when I realized I wasn't I was still hung up on stuff and we got to get our food up here and we got to go do toast. It just never went away, and I think that's.
I think it was after the ice cream because they did ice cream instead of a cake. I think it was
genius.
Well after the cake is when you loosened up.
Yeah, I didn't loosen up until too late, which is I still had fun, but I should have done it earlier.
I honestly didn't loosen up until probably the entire wedding. I was pretty tight the entire wedding because I really wanted my wife to have that participant with her girlfriends in the bathroom getting ready time. Yeah. I really wanted her to be just soak that up and they took 4 bottles of rosé into this pink bathroom.
Oh, awesome.
And they just fucking got in there and we're getting ready for hours. And I'm outside and and everybody starts showing up, all the caterers and shit start showing up to start setting up. Yeah. And there was a point where they all realized that I was the point of entry into them doing their job. And they're just oh man, look at this fucking idiot. And I could just see it in their eyes. I'm in the pool answering questions.
Oh no.
They're this is the guy I gotta. He's the groom. He's in the pool.
Yeah,
right.
Luckily, there were people around, adults around, who were able to answer.
You had become the participant too early. You should have been still planning.
No, I was a participant. I was trying to be a planner.
Yeah.
I was trying really, really hard to be the planner, and they were yeah, but you're dumb. We need an actual plan. Yeah. But who's actually doing
the real
this? Is fun. I love
charge?
that you're playing planner here in the pool. But where's the real person? I can tell you. Is there a mommy or daddy here?
Yeah.
Sorry, someone else needs to sign for this. Yeah.
Where's your wife, little boy? Where's your wife?
Oh man. Well,
yeah, that's a huge thing to remember. Is that you want to be able to say you?
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
That's I don't need to revamp my therapy sessions with you guys, but
please.
There's an element of that to our lives too, and maybe it's the freelance life, or maybe it's just the life of wanting more, or it's just everyone, where you're okay, Tuesday night at 5, I'm going to go do Groomzilla's. Okay, it's Monday. Tomorrow I got to do Groomzilla. Okay, tomorrow in the morning I got to do this thing at 11, and then Groomzilla's at 5. Yeah. Okay, cool. So as soon as, and then Groomzilla's ends and you're okay, well, Wednesday at 4 I have to do that. Yeah. And you're just constantly driving yourself mentally to the next thing on your head. Yeah. And then all of a sudden it's December 31st and you're fuck, dude. Yeah. Even when I was doing Groomzilla's, I was well, as soon as I'm done with this, I got to head home.
I think about that all the time. I'm never in the moment.
Yes.
I never enjoy myself in the moment.
And you learn it's called being present and all that shit. Yeah. And you don't, and it's only because you're fuck, okay, well, like, oh, I got to go do this. And then when you do the thing, you're like, oh my God. For me, an example I always use is like, I got to go do this 10 p.m. stand-up set tonight.
Yeah.
Like,
Right.
I signed up to do this. Now it's 7 and I'm home with my wife and I'm enjoying myself. And it's
Yeah.
like,
Oh, God,
oh,
dude.
fuck. Oh, now 9:30 I have to leave. I have to leave at 9:30. Fuck.
Yeah.
It's okay. I still have 2 hours. Okay. I still have an hour and a half. And it's like, I'm counting down the time, and rather than relishing in this 2.5 hours I have,
Seriously.
then I go and do the show and I'm like, well, as soon as the show's over, I can leave. I can leave at like 11:15. At 11:15, I'll be home by 12. I could be in bed by,
Yeah.
and all that.
Yeah.
And then I'm like driving home and I'm like, that was actually really fun. Right. I like
Yeah.
doing
Yep.
stand up. It
Yep.
was fun to
Right.
see the other guys and gals doing stand up
Yeah.
up there. And then I'm
Yeah.
like, fuck, I can't believe I let this 10 minutes of stand up that I really enjoyed
Yeah.
be 2.5 hours ahead of time of stress.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's not even, I'm fabricating what's stressful. I'm not
Yeah.
stressed about like what material am I going to do, which
Yeah.
is like valid stress.
Yeah, yeah.
But I'm just like stressed that I have to do it, something I elected to do.
Yeah.
And it's like, what's wrong with me there? And I found like Davey's thing there unlock that for me, where I
Yeah.
was like, fuck yeah. At some point you just remember, okay, I'm here now. I'm
Yeah.
doing it. This is the thing. I'm here at Groomzilla's. Just fucking do it. Yeah.
I identify with that so much.
Oof,
where
so hard.
I like, even I'll be coming home and like from like a show or something, which was stressful, or even like hanging out with friends at a party or at a bar, and I'm coming home like, that was pretty fun. I didn't enjoy it while it was happening, and that's kind of like the stuff that life is made of. But I realize that now, and I didn't enjoy it in the moment. But
Yeah.
I'm glad I did it, and hopefully next time I'll be on the ball about
Right, and-
recognizing for what it is.
all
And
it takes is that moment when you're like having fun to be like, oh, hey.
It just takes
Yeah.
one fucking breath. It
Yeah.
honestly just takes one breath. And the fear of doing that, of kind of worrying and like, planning your way through your own wedding is so real, because it
Yeah.
is so much pressure on one night of your
right.
life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you really, really want to fucking enjoy it. And
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm just really grateful that I did, because I really was worried that I wasn't going to.
It's a year long
Yeah.
unpaid project where the partner is already chosen for you, and
Yeah.
you live with them and interact with them and fuck
Yeah.
them.
You don't get paid for it.
Right.
You have to pay the money.
Yeah, and it only costs more and more. The more cool shit you want, the more it affects you.
Yeah.
Oh, that's fuck. Being more, my therapist told me that if I change the words, I have to I get to.
Yes.
It like will change
man.
the dynamic of like, I get to go do a comedy show at 10 p.m.
Especially if you're
I
performing
get to,
comedy.
Oh
Yeah,
my
I
God.
get to have drinks with my friends at 10 p.m. at night.
Yeah.
I get to go. I get the opportunity to bomb in front of the drunk history casting director.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
Oh man, that's
It's
true.
it's so real. It's something I'm recently learned, and anyone who listens to my any podcast I'm on in a certain 3-week span
Yeah.
will just hear me spewing therapy shit
Yeah.
from,
Yeah.
like,
Well,
that
no,
I've been
I
dealing
mean,
with.
well,
Yeah.
feel free. I'm
something
getting
that-
some free advice out of your therapist, so that's good for me.
And people can't hear that enough.
Yeah.
People can't hear that enough, because it's like people telling you to drink more water. You
Yeah.
know? Yeah. It's like, it's so like ubiquitous, or did I say that right?
Yep.
Ubiquitous.
Yep.
But it is also like, yeah, fucking drink water.
Yeah.
Like,
Right, yeah.
you're not drinking enough water. Nobody drinks enough water, and nobody fucking
Yeah.
is in the moment enough.
Life,
Ever.
life is what happens while you're making plans.
Apple pie.
John,
Pizza?
why don't you tell
Pizza
our
on the-
listeners where they can listen to your podcast and find you and stuff, so they can get free therapy advice?
Yeah, sure. I'm at Gabrus on Twitter and Instagram, Gabrus. And then you can listen to my podcast, High and Mighty, which is like a one-on-one chat show type thing, or one-on-two chat show. And I also host a podcast on the Earwolf Network called Raised by TV with me and Lauren Lapkus, where we review old television. And if
I love that.
and if you're a guy who's listening to Groomzilla's hoping to pick up, or a girl hoping to pick up 3 more podcasts, here's a third podcast I do, which is this is for the real heads. It's called Action Boys, and we record a weekly 3-hour episode about a classic action movie.
hell yeah.
Every
Holy shit.
episode is longer than the movie itself, and our opinions are garbage, and the fucking movies are often shit. It costs $5 a month to listen to. That's at actionboys.biz. And if you're a fucking real head, get in on that. But if not, I do not blame anyone for not listening to that.
All those sound great. Thanks so much for coming in. That was great. I feel like we could talk for like another 3 hours.
Oh, I feel like we can talk honeymoon advice, bachelor parties.
God, we didn't even get into the honeymoon.
Yeah.
I also have a lot of strong opinions about best man speech as coming at someone who's given a few best man speeches and we're professionals.
Oh my God. I feel like
strong takes.
But I'll come back. Have you back. Let's have you back.
I'll come back.
Yeah.
I'll come back after my next wedding.
Thanks, John.
Thanks, John.
Thank you, guys. Good to see everyone again.
Eric, my main man, my main squeeze. What'd you think of old John G?
Danny, hey, I'm going to tell you this, and I'm going to be honest with you, Danny, because that's the only way I know how to be Danny is I know how to be honest. That was a really great talk. That was a really good talk.
I mean, he's one of those guys we're going to have back, right? He's overflowing.
I cannot wait to have him back. I couldn't get enough of that fucking juicy ass thick wedding he was talking about.
Seriously.
I love it. I love a nice big nasty fucking wedding, and that sounded like a lot of fun.
Yeah, we just barely dipped our toe in on his wedding and and how he feels about weddings. Come on, don't Eric, really? We're trying to round this thing out. You get all gross. You going blue?
Get gross. I didn't go blue.
All right.
All right.
You got anything you want to say before we get out of here? This is the garbage time. This is our garbage time where we just throw it all at the wall.
Wetheads, all I got to say at this point in juncture in my life is I'm just so grateful for you and all 11 of you that are sticking with us. Thank you so much for listening to us.
There are more than 11. We joke, but we have a dedicated and sizable listenership that we do really appreciate you guys.
Dan's got a lot going for him.
All right.
I don't.
You're doing fine, buddy. You're doing fine.
This podcast is a big, big deal for me.
Who's putting himself on tape for Amazon pilots over here?
Didn't hear back.
I didn't hear back either.
And if I can't get that part, I don't know.
We're too old. I told you we've aged ourselves out of certain roles.
If I can't get a part as an annoying Middle Eastern guy, buddy, I don't know what else to do.
He was an annoying Middle Eastern guy in his 20s, Eric. We just have to be a little more focused with where we're aiming. To that end, please share if you enjoy the podcast. Like and subscribe on iTunes or wherever you get your podcasts. Tell people about it.
I wanted to have a really positive, thankful, grateful outro, and it ended up being so sad.
No, you're the goddamn bleeding heart of this thing, and I'm the soulless one who has to.
That's not true.
Follow us on Instagram at Groomzillas or I'm sorry, at Groomzillas Pod, on Twitter at Groomzillas. This is why we don't have listeners. We're fucking terrible at this, man.
No, we're not. Thank you so much for listening, Wetheads. I really actually appreciate it.
Tell your friends, Eric. I love you so much. I'll see you next week.
I love you, Dan. Great talk, baby.
Bye, baby. Hey, how about those Dodgers?
Hey, how about those Dodgers?
When this drops, it's going to be different.
How about those Dodgers?
Right now, we can say, how about those
We're going
boys
to
in
beat the
blue?
Brewers. Fuck those racist-ass Brewers.
Forever Dog.
This has been a Forever Dog production. Executive produced by Brett Boehm, Joe Cilio, and Alex Ramsey. For more original podcasts, please visit foreverdogpodcasts.com and subscribe to our shows on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. Keep up with the latest Forever